Hi guys, Scott Woodward with you to talk about the famous St George Illawarra Dragons chances in 2012. And look, the Dragons finished 5th last year, and there's a scenario why they can go much better in 2012. I didn't like them last year at the odds they were, and they were short price favourite for a big part of the year last year for two reasons. Simply, they had a lot of football at the start of the year, had an away game in the UK, and they had a lot of players that were going to be playing during the year in representative games, plus their coach, Wayne Bennett, had announced that he was leaving. Never a good thing for a coach to do that when they have to maintain the side for the entire year. You never get the best out of it. It's not a good thing to do, but it was unfortunate, and St George in the latter part of 2011 played like a tied side. This year, 2012, they're refreshed. They have a new coach, and admittedly, he's a rookie coach, but he takes the job with a fairly good resume and a very good reputation. And I would be optimistic that he'll do very well with the Dragons this year. And he's inherited largely the same side that won the premiership. Look, there's a few players missing, and some of them are big name players. But some of the guys that have come in, I think, will go okay. And they have the nucleus of their side. And a lot of St George fans that I've spoken to have already written off their chances for 2012, and I wouldn't be quite that keen to jump off the boat just yet. I think that they'll have a good year simply because they do a lot of the basics very, very well. They don't make a lot of mistakes, and if we look at what they did last year, there's a very good reason why they didn't go any better than 5th. And I think actually they did very well to finish 5th. They were still number one club for the least amount of errors made, and a lot of that goes down to Wayne Bennett, a tremendously well-drilled side. They don't give a lot away. Very, very hard to bet against St George because they don't make too many mistakes, and that's a very big thing. They were the number 2 side for defence, which you expect also from a Wayne Bennett side. Very hard to score against them. Now, where they let themselves down, they were only number 8 for tries scored. You'd think a team like St George that are so good in defence and don't make many errors would have better attack than what they had. And the fact that they were only number 8 for tries scored points directly to their halves combination, Jamie Soward and their captain, Ben Hornby. Both those two guys played the majority of last year with a lot of niggly injuries, and fit and well and refreshed, we can expect a much better combination from them in 2012, similar to 2 years ago when they won the premiership and when they were minor premiers the year before that. So hopeful that the Soward-Hornby combination will come back to its best in 2012. That was a very big reason. Look, apart from that, any team that doesn't concede a lot of tries and doesn't make a lot of errors, all they really have to do is get their attack right and get over the line, and they're going to go close to winning the premiership. And so I don't think a lot of that will be taken away. Let's have a look at the team that I think will run out for round 1 for St George in 2012. And the big in, Kyle Stanley, the very, very promising Kyle Stanley, I think he'll come in as the fullback. He can play a number of positions. He can certainly play 5'8". At a pinch, he could play halfback, and he played a little bit of centre for Wayne Bennett as well. He's such a talented kid. He can play anywhere. And if he keeps on improving from the God-given talent that he has got, and while he's replaced the incumbent Australian fullback, I'm not prepared to say that St George have lost anything with Kyle Stanley playing fullback. Bronx, Goodwin and Dennan, Kemp are also on the list and can play fullback, but Kyle Stanley to me is a standout, and I think he could go on and represent. I really think he's a special player, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him being the number 1 for the Dragons in 2012. His brother comes in and replaces Mark Gasnier, Chase Stanley, who is also highly talented, and I don't think the Dragons will lose a lot there. Mark Gasnier was way past his best last year. I don't think he had a good second half of the season, and I think with the new blood of Chase Stanley, I think that's only a plus for the Dragons. And then we look at the crux of the side, and it's basically the side that have done very well for them over the last 4 or 5 years. I think we'll probably be looking at a new hooker. I would expect that Cameron King, if he's fit and well and he comes back okay from his injury, I think he would be my number 1 choice for hooker, along with Mitch Rein, and also the very experienced international Kiwi Nathan Fien will be the other guy in contention. But for me, I'd have Cameron King as my starting hooker. There's a lot of depth in the Dragons forwards. That's one thing they have got. They've got a lot of depth, a lot of promising young kids coming through, and obviously they've got the tried and tested forwards. The props Weyman and Hunt will be there. Their outstanding forward Ben Creagh will be the number 11, and he's as good as any second rower in the world. He's an outstanding player, puts in every week, very good in defence, very good in attack, and he combines beautifully on that left-hand fringe there with Brett Morris, and I would expect that he will be chiming in with Cole Stanley. I would expect that he'll be trailing him through a fair bit. I think with Matt Cooper backing up on that side also, that's going to be once again a very potent attacking side for the Dragons on that left-hand side. Jason Nightingale will obviously be the other winger with Brett Morris. Daniel Vidot, I notice, is on the list. I have a concern with Vidot. I don't think he's good in defence, and I don't think I've ever seen a back who's so inept with the bomb. So he's got a lot to work on his game, Daniel Vidot. But when he's got the ball, he does run the ball very well, and he can bust a tackle. So he has got talent. I'm just quite not sure where to play him, because I think he can be a liability. But he has got talent, and perhaps with a new coach, he'll do much better at the Dragons. As far as the rest of the forwards are concerned, I would expect Beau Scott will be the right-sided back rower, and Dean Young, a fit Dean Young this year. He still has problems with his knees, but he's such an important part for the Dragons. Not so much for his talent, but he's such a very good talker, and he's a workaholic, and he'll play 80 minutes if he's fitting well, and he's very important to the structure of the Dragons. They go much better when he's on the field. So, look, with a fitter Dean Young, a fitter Soward and Hornby, I would expect that the Dragons will do very well this year. We know that they get the fundamentals right, and with fitter players, as I just mentioned, they only have to score a few more tries, and they're certainly going to be in the Final Four yet again, as they've been have been most of the last decade. So I can expect yet another good year for the Dragons. I don't want to be on them to win the premiership, but I think they'll certainly be there or thereabouts. Just having a look at the bench, there's a lot of contenders for the bench. They've got a very strong list, not an outstanding bench, but a very strong bench. We're talking about guys like Matt Pryor, who is just a terrific club player, always puts in. A couple of their imports, listen, Al Mao, I haven't got a massive rap on him. Big opinion of Jake Stockwell. No bigger opinion of any of their rookies than Jack DeBellin. We saw a little bit of him last year, and I'll expect that he will have a very good 2012. I'll expect that he will be a regular off the bench for the Dragons and could very well be one of their starting forwards. Jake Marchetto, Will Matthews, Attila Vey, Michael Greenfield, of course Trent Merrim will be one of the guys who will either be starting or coming off the bench. He's still very young and big and gives them very good go forward. Josh Miller, I love the way he plays. Josh Miller, kamikaze hitter, doesn't do a lot with the ball, but you know that he's on the field. Terrific player to watch. Junior Paulo, David Gower, Jeremy Lattimore, they're good journeymen. They're sort of guys that you have to have a couple of those guys in your club. There's a lot of depth. They won't have any problems in finding first-grade quality players if they have an injury, St George, but they need to get their crux of their star players right. I think it's quite a good spine. I've already said that I'm a massive rap on Cole Stanley. We know how good Jamie Soward and Ben Hornby go when they're fit and well, and Cameron King promises to be very, very promising. He got struck down by injury last year and fit well, Cameron King, and we can expect to see Mitch Rein go on to the next level again in 2012. The Dragons have a very good makeup of a very, very good spine and a very good working forward pack with a dangerous back line, and I expect that they'll have a very good 2012. I think they'll finish in the 8. I don't think they'll finish in the 4. And I don't want to be on them to win the comp, but I think they'll definitely be playing semi-final football yet again. Wonderful club, the Dragons.